Raider Nation. Oh my God, my phone is exploding with takes. Everyone's got takes. Welcome back. My name is Rodney. This is the last Raiders Daily before the new league year officially begins. And I was preparing away with my little free agent predictions. Maybe we'll get Aaron Rodgers. Maybe we'll get Sam Darnold. Geno Smith, they wrote him off. Pete Carroll wrote him back and said, "Hello, son. Welcome to Vegas." We got a whole lot to discuss. But like always, how we start these, if you're watching live on Bleacher Report, let me know if you can see me and hear me. Comment your thoughts. If you're watching after the fact on YouTube, hit that like button, comment away. I've got stats, I've got facts, I've got opinions, I've got everything. And I've got a story to tell you. I come home from my day job, take a little nap, wake up. My phone is quite literally on fire. Geno Smith is a Raider. Bad time to take a nap for a content creator, but it is what it is. I described my state, my mindset when I woke up as I felt like I was in the bookshelf in Interstellar. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what was going on, what was reality. And the reality is Geno Smith is a Las Vegas Raider. So as I wait here for a couple people to accumulate in here before I give my official take on Bleacher Report, I'm going to push the poll out here because this is going to be the poll that's going to be up here for the majority of the stream. And it's a vibe check, no doubt about it. And it's, are you happy with the Geno Smith trade? And if you vote maybe or no or yes, I guess, if you vote any one of them, I want to know your thoughts. I want to know exactly what your thoughts are. I will be reading the chat throughout because I have a feeling this is going to be a lively one. Mom, I'm sorry. I just, like, what do you want me to do? I had a lot to do here. Okay. My phone is exploding. So, everybody say hello to my mother in the chat. Geno Smith is a Raider. My initial thoughts as I awoke was this. And I don't mean this as a positive. I don't mean this as a negative. I mean this as a fact. Geno Smith is the safest option the Raiders could have gone with at quarterback. Anybody on the market, on the free agent market, anybody in the trade market, he is without a doubt the safest option. Go down the list with Stafford off the board now because he got his new contract. Sam Darnold, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, Daniel Jones, Kirk Cousins. Who am I forgetting? Zach Wilson. He was the safest option. Of the 3 years that Geno Smith started in Seattle, he never won less than 9 games. In 2022, when he was a comeback player of the year, he threw for 30 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. They went 9-8, made the playoffs. The next year, they went 9-8, made the playoffs. Last year, they went 10-7 and somehow didn't make the playoffs. In a division that rivals maybe the AFC West as one of the toughest in the league the past 5 years. Cardinals, 49ers, Rams. Geno Smith was consistently competitive in that division. Now, when you bring somebody like a Geno Smith in and you put your eggs in the Geno Smith basket, right? The take would be, well, he had success with Pete Carroll, so what does that mean? Are we going to have success with him? Well, guess what, guys? Who's our coach? Pete Carroll. This is that rare instance where you bring someone in and go, well, they had success in this system with this culture. Well, how are they going to do it with our culture? Well, that's the same culture that they had success in. It's as if we brought in Sam Darnold and Kevin O'Connell. Now, again, I'm not going to come in here and start singing and dancing on the ceiling. Shout out to Lionel Richie. But the facts are the facts. Geno Smith, Pro Football Focus graded him the 13th best quarterback in the league last year. He threw for 4,300 yards. That was 4th in the league. He threw for 21 touchdowns, which was 13th in the league. He also threw for 15 interceptions. Okay? It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows in Seattle last year, but they won 10 games. This is the best quarterback we've had since 2016, Derek Carr. Again, I don't mean that as like, "Can you believe this? We're going to a Super Bowl." These aren't opinions, though. Like, these are inarguable, factual statements, right? So Geno Smith for a third round pick. I would be slightly more upset about this if we didn't already have a third. And can somebody confirm for me, although it doesn't matter because I'm pretty sure they're right next to each other, is this the Jets third or the Raiders third? Let's just pretend it's the Jets third, even though they're right next to each other. This trade was essentially Devontae Adams for Geno Smith. If I told anybody in the National Football League, hey, would you do this trade if you're the Raiders? They would say, yes. Where do I sign? Excuse me. So, in terms of the draft capital we gave up, I couldn't care less. A third. We already have a third. James Palmer, who was just on Bleacher Report about an hour before me, said if you ask people around the league what the consensus is on Geno Smith, it's that he's a very good quarterback. You just need to protect him. And something sneaky about Geno, because I know he's 34. Oh no, he's 34. Not old at all anymore in today's day and age in the NFL. He ran for almost 300 yards last year. Like, this guy is not a stick. People want to complain about Aiden O'Connell being a statue. Okay. Now you got someone who can move around. Okay, Mr. 1974, this move sucks. Totally respect your opinion. Please articulate why. Please articulate why, and we'll have a discourse here. We'll have a discussion. Completely understand anybody not thrilled with this, especially coming off the week that we had thinking we were going to have Matthew Stafford. But here's the thing. You want to give up the 6th pick for Matthew Stafford, or you want to give up a 3rd-round pick for Geno Smith? Again, this is the stuff you have to weigh when you're building a franchise, when you're building a team for the future, as well as trying to compete to win right now. And I mentioned when Max Crosby signed his contract that they absolutely told him what the plan was at quarterback moving forward. And apparently Geno requested a trade on Thursday. Max gets signed that same day. And now Max Crosby's tweeting very explicit things positively about this move. Again, donuts, this move sucks. Okay, totally understand. Totally understand. By the way, that means you're not voting in the poll. So what's up with that? But let's hear why you think this move sucks. Let's have a conversation about it. Because I'm not jumping for joy with this, but I don't think it sucks. This is you're talking about a bridge quarterback to be able to compete. This is exactly the guy you want. This is exactly the guy you want for the next 2 to 3 seasons to let Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe or Will Howard or Kyle McCord cook, bake in the oven, learn behind Geno with Chip Kelly for 2 to 3 years, and let that guy take the reins. You never know what the future holds. 12 or 13 years ago, when Geno Smith was drafted, I never thought he would be a Las Vegas Raider. And if you draft a rookie quarterback and he doesn't turn out to be the guy, you don't know who's going to be available to trade veteran-wise in that market. What if in 2 years Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals go 5-12 and 7-10, and now he's on the market? You're telling me John Spytek won't do whatever he takes to get him? You never know who's going to be available, okay? Especially if Geno's winning 8 or 9 games a year, you're not going to be able to draft that high. You can trade up and still draft a Drew Allen or an Arch Manning. You just never know what's going to happen. This team wants to win right now. And like I said to start this, Geno Smith in Seattle with Pete Carroll never won less than 9 games. Again, this is not an opinion. And I'm not smiling as I say this because, again, I'm not jumping for joy. Some people claim me to be like the eternal optimist. I'm not celebrating this move. But in terms of like running an organization, this is a very strong, calculated move. Okay, so Donuts Duncan says the free agent class for QB was bad and uninspiring. Geno's better than all of them, and I'm still not happy. Okay, well, look, I can't help you there. I can't help you there. I understand the sentiment, but there's levels to all this. Nolan says I don't hate it, but I don't think they should pay him $40 to $50 million. Thank you for bringing that up. On Triple, I see the Genty thing. We'll get to that in a second. So the contract is the contract, okay? Look, the cap went up. It is what it is. Kirk Cousins got $45 million. Sam Darnold's about to get 45 to 50. Brock Purdy's about to get like 55. This is the market for the 13th best quarterback, according to Pro Football Focus. Geno Smith, 4th highest yard total last season. This is just the market. You're going to look back 2 years from now. Max Crosby is the highest paid non-quarterback in the history of the league. 2 years from now, he'll be in the middle of the pack. That's just the way money works in the NFL. I understand when you see $40 million in Geno Smith, your heart wants to explode. The cap went up. The money goes up. This is the price. If you want a quarterback that wins you 9 or 10 games a season, this is the price to pay. Derek Carr is making 32.7 to do nothing in New Orleans. Okay? 757 Celtics fan, y'all are never happy. Look, it just happened, okay? So you got to give people time to marinate. I remember, and I know most of you, do not lie, tell the truth. You know, Christmas is right around the corner, sneaky, like you'll never see this coming, and Santa's going to be, I don't know what, I'm going off on a tangent here about being good for Santa. Forget I ever said anything. Don't lie. When we drafted Brock Bowers, the majority consensus was, we didn't need a tight end. We already had Michael Mayer. This is not a good move. I'm not comparing Geno Smith to Brock Bowers. What I'm saying is that people need time to marinate on the moves that are made. Raider fans are passionate. They want to win. You got to take a step back. The market is the market. It is what it is. Young, it is what it is. Young QB, you think we drafted? Okay. You want to get into the perfect ideal plan here? Like I said, if Shedeur Sanders is there at 6, there's a world in which they take him. I don't think it's a realistic world, but there is a world for sure where they take him. If he potentially falls out of the top 10, they might trade back into the first round and try to grab him. If not, it's going to be Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, Will Howard. One of those guys is going to be drafted and is going to sit under Geno for multiple seasons. This is the way. Shout out to the Mandalorian. Like, I feel like a broken record. I feel like I'm going a little crazy here. Of all the bridge quarterbacks out there, Geno for a third is the most ideal situation. I understand the frustration coming off of the Matthew Stafford of it all. But, like, this team is not going to win the Super Bowl next year. There's no Jaden Danielses in this draft or on the market that is going to completely change the history of the franchise. So you just got to find a way to compete. And Geno Smith was in a very tough division and made the playoffs 2 out of the 3 seasons. And the season he didn't make the playoffs, he won the most games. Let's talk a little bit about Chip Kelly's offense. It's evolved from that 7 seconds or less to run the football, play action, move within the pocket, roll out when you need to, distribute all 3 levels of the field. Geno Smith will be able to get the ball to Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers at will. That is something that's going to happen pretty consistently. Patrick, great comment. Do you see them trading Mayer and a third to try to get DK? All right, so I'm going to end this poll right now. Most of us are happy. Some of us are not happy. Some of us are maybe. I understand that. So the DK Metcalf of it all, and then we'll get into the draft. How does this affect free agency in the draft? The DK Metcalf of it all is interesting, right? Because I forgot to turn my heat off. I hear it coming on. Ouch. I'm going to be sweating soon. Because apparently, according to, I think, ALLaBorde, yesterday or 2 days ago, maybe before the extension with Max, the Seahawks called us and said, we will give you DK Metcalf and Geno Smith for Max Crosby. The Raiders excuse me, I'm getting emotional. The Raiders shut that down immediately. They extended Max. They still traded for Geno. I wonder what Geno Smith's relationship is like with DK Metcalf. Let's pull up DK Metcalf stats over the last 3 seasons. DK Metcalf stats. Okay, so the last 3 seasons, he went, so when Geno got there, he went 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, and then last year, almost 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns. Jackson Smith and Jigba became a bigger focal point. So I do think DK would be okay with playing with Geno. I was wondering if DK Metcalf requested a trade because he knew Geno would be gone? Or did he request a trade because he didn't want to play with Geno? Now, if he didn't want to play with Geno and that was the vibe in Seattle, I don't think they would package him together for Max Crosby. Mo, what's up, Mo? Shout out to Mo Moten. He's doing Raiders Daily Monday through Wednesday. I know he's happy about Geno Smith. I know it. Well, we should probably do a show together at some point. Shout out to Mo Moten. So here's the question to the group, to the council, if you will. Does this take the Raiders out of the DK Metcalf sweepstakes? I don't think it does. I think they could still be on the phone right now talking about it. Hey, we just gave you a third for a quarterback. We're really going to give you a third for a wide receiver. I know that Seattle's probably looking for a first or a second, which is insane. A second's not insane. A first is insane. But I think we now might have the leverage. DK might say, hey, John Schneider, love you, bro. Thanks for drafting me. I want to go play for Vegas. I'm not going to play for anybody else. That gives Spytek and Pete Carroll every ounce of leverage. And now the Seahawks are like, all right, well, we just gave you Geno for a third. Can we get DK? Can we get your second for DK? And we're going to be like, what are you, insane? We just traded a third for a quarterback. You're going to get a fourth and a sixth and Michael Mayer, and you're going to be happy about it. Yeah, I just wonder. I just wonder what the DK Geno relationship is. If I had to guess, I don't have any insider information. I wish I did. Trust me, I've been trying. I wonder what the relationship is. I would have to guess that it's good. What are people saying? Too much cap for DK? Maybe. Yeah, it's a lot. I hear you. We're going to have to restructure some people. But this is why, look, we are flush with cash. Scared money don't make money, man. Spend this money. You want to win 10 games in the toughest division in the National Football League? Because people think, Bo Nix and Justin Herbert are the second coming, I guess. All right, let's see. We must do a show together, my Raider brother. 100%. Put it on the books. We'll be in touch. They can have the other third. Honestly, yeah, they could. And that's another thing to talk about here is the draft. Okay, there's a whole lot to talk about. I need to fit this all within 30 minutes because this is crazy. Lockett should be a lock for us to sign, pun intended. Lockett's not terrible, man. I mean, last year was his first down year. I don't know exactly if he played every game. Tyler Lockett stats. Yeah, I mean, Lockett's been one of the most consistent receivers in the league. Yeah, last year he had a down year. And he's getting up there in age. But he's got 661 career receptions, almost 9,000 yards and 61 touchdowns. Like, this guy is a great guy to have in the slot here. Maybe for someone Trey Tucker to learn under. Like, that's not a bad idea at all. I mean, he's 32. It's going to be very interesting times here. And Monday coming up with legal tampering. This is only the beginning. This is only the beginning, guys. Seahawks offensive line was pretty bad last year. Yeah, our offensive line this coming season is going to be better than what they did or what they were throwing out there last year. He was running for his life. That's what a lot of Seattle Seahawks fans will tell you, is that Geno was making a mountain out of a molehill. I don't know if that's exactly where I should have used that, but you get exactly what I'm saying. DK also didn't get the ball as much with that battle line and mid to bad offensive coordinator. We win with a dominant offensive line. Yeah, and again, Chip Kelly's system now, they're going to run this football with Geno, and it's going to be a lot of play action, Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers. Okay, so I saw a lot of people talking about the draft. How does this affect the draft in particular? Well, if we stay at 6, and I see Nolan talking about it, Triple was talking about it earlier. If we stay at 6, because now I think there's a world where we move back, but let's stay on target and let's talk about 6. I think 6 now is best player available. If you look at Spytek and Pete Carroll's board, they're going to take the guy that they have the most value, the highest grade with that position, with number 6 overall pick. Whoever's left there, they're going to take him. Whether that's a Mason Graham, whether that's a Shedeur Sanders, an Ashton Genty, a McMillan, they're going to take the best player available that doesn't write off the quarterback position. Some people are saying Sanders is going to fall out of the top 10. I don't know. It comes down to how we feel about it, right? The people in the front office that know a lot more about any of this stuff than me. If they take Genty at 6 and they figure out a way to get DK or a Chris Godwin, and now if you would just come on a journey with me, close your eyes for a second. Let's pretend it's Chris Godwin because it just feels crazy to trade for Geno and DK separately. Let's pretend it's Chris Godwin, okay? It'd be funny if I opened my eyes and my stream was dead, but hopefully it's not. You've got Geno Smith under center. 9 wins, 9 wins, 10 wins. You got Brock Bowers as your one tight end. You've got Jacoby Myers as your wide receiver 2. You've got Chris Godwin as your wide receiver 1. You've got Ashton Genty behind you. You've got Chip Kelly either up in the booth or down here calling plays. Pete Carroll challenging, calling timeouts. Patrick Graham coaching a top 10 defense. Open your eyes. Do you like where you are? I do. Does it smell like 10 wins? It kind of does. 4th place schedule. Don't forget about that. The reason why you win games, even if you can't win a Super Bowl yet, is to build a culture and to show guys like Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins and Jacoby Myers, veterans that have been in the building now for a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, we got your back. You want to play meaningful games in December and January? This is how you do it. Build through the trenches. Get O-line, Najee Harris, draft a running back later. Don't hate it. They probably take a flyer on one of the not a flyer. They're both really good players. Just later in the draft, day 2, Travion Henderson or Judkins. I think this is a very, very good move in terms of ushering a new era of competing with this new version of the Las Vegas Raiders. Even if they win 7 or 8 games next year, these are going to be competitive football games. And I want you to think about this for a second because I said this a couple months ago in terms of going to get Aaron Rodgers or Sam Darnold or Matthew Stafford, right? Let's pretend that we didn't make a single. Oh, no. Let's just do this. Let's pretend that this coaching staff was put into the 2024 season. We had the same exact roster. And instead of Gardner Minshew starting, it was Aiden O'Connell. But you've got Chip Kelly, Pete Carroll, and Patrick Graham. Don't they win like 6 games? Like they won 4 games with Luke Getsy and Norv Turner coming out of nowhere and Desmond Ridder, and they won 4 games. So with that same roster last year and the coaching staff we have now, they probably win like 6 or 7 games, right? Am I out of pocket to say that? I think that's realistic. And instead of Aiden O'Connell, you've got Geno Smith. And instead of Zamir White, you've got Ashton Genty or Judkins or Travion Henderson. And instead of, I don't know, any wide receiver we were running out last year, you've got Chris Godwin or DK Metcalf. There is a world in which we can at least double up the win total. And I'm interested to see what Vegas is going to have us over-underwise when the season starts. So, guys, I know you've got takes. Savage Raider Hampton might be a trade back move. That's what I wanted to say. I'll bring that up in a second. Thank you. Having Geno opens us up to be flexible in the draft. One of the best moves, draft a Louisville quarterback in the 5th round and develop him. Excuse me. Don't hate that. Imagine getting Campbell or Membo at 6, Najee and Travion Henderson as 3rd down back. Don't hate it. Najee and draft Henderson would be a nice backfield. Don't hate it at all. Last thing I'll say, AOC is going to start over Geno. Okay. I don't know if you're meaning that to be funny or not as a joke, but I'll say this about Pete Carroll. Doesn't matter how much money Geno Smith's making. Doesn't matter how many picks we traded for him with. This is going to be an open competition. Geno Smith, Aiden O'Connell, rookie quarterback. And whoever the best one is going to start. They started Russell Wilson over Matt Flynn. This isn't going to be Gardner Minshew. Oh, Gardner Minshew makes $15 million, so they have to start him over Aiden O'Connell, even though everyone with a brain who has eyeballs, functioning eyeballs, and a functioning brain knew Aiden O'Connell was the right move to start over Geno Smith. Over Gardner Minshew. Whatever, it is what it is. But that's going to be an open competition. We'll see what happens, okay? We'll see what happens. Trading back. I actually think this avenue now got a lot more likely. Because if you're there at 6, let's pull up the draft order. Because after us at 6, okay, this is going to be interesting. NFL draft order 2025. All right. So you've got us at 6, right? Then behind us, you've got the Jets, the Panthers, the Saints, the Bears, the 49ers. All of those teams have a lot of needs just like us. I don't really foresee the Jets taking Genti. They have Brees Hall. The Panthers, they've got that Jonathan Brooks, who got hurt, unfortunately, but they've got a young running back. I don't know if they take Genti at 8. They've got a lot of needs. The Saints, Alvin Kamara is getting up there in age. The Bears, they don't take Genti. The 49ers, maybe they do. Maybe there's a world now where you would like to take Genti. You don't want to take him at 6 because you value it's all about value, right? Brock Bowers at 13 was incredible value. So maybe there's a world you're at 6, you want Genti, you go back to 9 with the Saints, you grab that third back, maybe a second. I don't know what the point system is for these draft picks right now. That'll be something to look up for maybe Monday. Or you go back to 10, you grab that third back, and you take Genti at 10. Trading back is an absolute possibility. Feels maybe like a likelihood now. There's also a world which they want to go get Cam Ward, and they trade up and they let him sit for a season. I don't know. They trade up and get Abdul Carter. John Spytek has proven that he will do anything to build a competent roster here. And that's another thing I want to talk about really quickly before I hop back into the chat here. There's a lot of like, well, Sam Darnold was only good because of Kevin O'Connell, right? You could say the same thing about Pete Carroll was only good because he had the backing of Geno Smith was only good because he had the backing of Pete Carroll. Well, now Pete Carroll's here. You could say, well, Baker Mayfield, they resurrected him because they were in that system and that front office with John Spytek. Now John Spytek is here. So we've got multiple people in the building that resurrected these guys, that got the best out of these guys. Tom Brady's in the building, like Chip Kelly, highest paid OC. Like, there's positive energy here, man. There just is. And the last thing I'll say about Geno in particular, Max Crosby was clearly thrilled with this. And it was funny because when we signed Gardner Minshew, people were like, oh, he was born to be a Raider. Look at him. He's born to be a Raider. I never understood that. Why was Gardner Minshew born to be a Raider? Because he had long hair and a mustache and he lived in a van? He didn't have the Raider attitude. I said it on my I said it on my YouTube channel. Gardner Minshew felt like a Charger or a Cardinal. And he played like one. Take that as you will. Geno Smith, the second he got drafted, we're making the playoffs. They wrote me off. I didn't write back. Geno Smith is a Raider. It's an attitude. It's an essence. That doesn't really matter to me, but if it matters to you, that's a fact. Geno Smith is a Raider. He literally is, and in a figurative, metaphorical sense, he absolutely is. All right, let's see. Address your needs at free agency so you can draft for value. Exactly. And in free agency, I think wide receiver is going to be a top priority. I think it was Albert Breer or Pelissero who just said that Chris Godwin has a big market. Spytek, get in his ear, man. Get him in the building. So we don't have to worry about drafting a wide receiver with the first pick because, again, value in the draft is extremely important. Look at Brock Bowers. Look at JPJ, DJ Glaze. All incredibly valuable picks that played a lot of meaningful snaps for us. Not meaningful in terms of being able to win the game, except for that Black Friday game. Geno opens so much now, and players will want to play for the Raiders. I have faith in Spytek because of what he did in Tampa Bay. Trade from 6 to 9 and our third and draft Genti or Hampton, and my mother cannot wait for the draft. I can't wait for Monday, man. Monday, is it 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern? I got to wake up a little earlier than I would on an off day. I got to wake up early at 9:30. That's like most people are up by like 7 in the morning. I'm excited, man. The legal tampering window is upon us. This is an absolute blast. Again, bad time for me to take a nap. But I woke up to Geno Smith in the silver and black. Get ready for that press conference. That should be fun. Last few things I'll read here. Think how close we have been to beating Kansas City with mid-QB play. Now we have Geno to take the next step. Booker is a beast of interior lineman. True. Guys, thank you so much for watching. That was a tight 30 minutes all on one topic. That was impressive. If you're watching on Bleach Report, thank you so much. Mo, we'll be in touch. I'll hit you up in a little bit here. If you're watching After the Fact on YouTube, hit that like button, comment away. Please be sure to subscribe. It is free after all. No charge to you. They wrote us off. We didn't write back. Love you guys. See you next time.